Okay. So this is day number 2. I think we last left off with me right after the first ceremony. And today was a little different because we went on our service trip. We went to a dog shelter, and our job was to just help out at the dog shelter, and it was just a way to connect with nature and to share love. But we've also had some time to reflect on what we felt and saw yesterday. I don't quite remember what I discussed. I guess I'm going to watch this back. But yesterday, I felt the magic of the universe. I got to understand the pleasure and joy that God has in his creation of the universe. And I say his creation just because I'm accustomed to speaking in a masculine preferred way, because that's how we're taught, right? God's the man. But this version of God that I met was female. And she took me all the way to, I guess, the most basic form of creation and love. I've never had a feeling like this. I felt intense love during the ceremony, and it's clear how I should be expressing love now. I've always been a very affectionate and loving person, but I've even had a block with how much love I let into my life. So now I know what kind of love I expect and what kind of love to give, like a fulfilling love. But then I felt something else, which is a sense of perfection within the creation. There was a point in my journey where, when I met God, she showed me how the universe contracts and expands, right? And then gave me the universe to play with. And I was playing with myself. And it was like erotic, sexual in a way, but like digital, energetic, all these things just moving me through different states of consciousness. Sometimes I'd come back to the room that we were in, and then I'd like dissolve. And I finally got to this point where I was like a gummy splash, right? Or like fluid in a way. And I felt at total peace with where I was. And I knew that this is the place where the afterlife exists, where you could find all happiness, reconnect with everybody that you love. I got to see visions of my father, who's still alive. He's not passed away, but I got to see how he felt about me. I also got to see how I felt about my daughter. I got to know what it feels like to be a fetus. I know it sounds totally bizarre. Like if I were to hear someone talking like this, I would think they're completely off their rocker. I would think that they're insane, that they've lost it. They participated in some sort of cult ritual. But it makes me understand people who may be dealing with mental illness, or what they consider mental illness, because it's really not. I truly believe now that people who are mentally ill on this platform are somehow tapped in to that fourth dimension, and they can't express themselves to anybody who's here, because the people who are here who haven't traveled don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'll give you an example. Before my brother committed suicide, there was one thing that he told me that I thought was bizarre. He asked me, "Karl, do you think that you could walk so thin that you could dodge rain?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he was like, "Do you think you could walk so thin that you could dodge rain?" And I automatically just turned to him and was like, "Yo, you absolutely needs to stop doing drugs because you're somewhere else. And a funny thing, not funny, but before my brother passed away, he used to do a lot of drugs. And his friends nicknamed him Dead Man because he would kind of go off in a mute trance for hours and just be somewhere else. And now that I've kind of transitioned into this fourth dimension, or this, parallel universe, I got to see the world from a different angle that you could walk thin enough to dodge the plane. Like you could get as narrow as like a light ray and be anywhere, anytime. So if it was just kind of like pouring rain, you would be able to kind of turn your perspective and find that path between all the raindrops, like something like that. And it's amazing that he had that insight, or he had like, why he was thinking, I don't know, but I'm sure that he had bipolar disorder. It runs in my family, and he was being drawn by this thing. And when I was there, especially when God was showing me how to create and how to connect and how everything is connected and how we are part of God and the universe, it felt so good that I could see why some people, and this is not to advocate for suicide, it's a hard thing for the people who go through suicide and the survivors of suicide, but I saw there was like a pull on me to stay there, to stay in this other world. It's not heaven, it's not hell. It's perfection, and like in this, it's just perfection from another angle, and you feel calm, you feel at peace, and it's like giggly and fun and happy and playful, and you feel things that babies feel, and you feel the sensations of love and not so much pain. You felt like pain was just kind of part of the conduit, part of the transition to get to one of these other spots, like a moment, like temporary, super temporary, and then back to like warmth. And I felt like maybe my brother got exposed to that, and he kept tapping into it until he decided that that's where he needed to be. Really, really allows me to accept the decision and what he chose to do. And maybe understand why at this point people do choose to pursue that side. And I also could see, like, that feeling of nirvana, or achieving nirvana, why people meditate and can get to that point. I think there's a lot of different ways that humans can channel that. Maybe it's, for some people, it's going to be only through death. For some people, it's going to be through psychedelics like this. For some other people, it may be a temporary out-of-body experience, some mental illness. But I think it's something that we all will experience. And when you get there, you'll know what I mean. Hey, so it's kind of dark, I'm sorry. We're about to head out for ritual number 2. I'm only participating as an observer, but just to show you my kit, I got my my electrosol, or my electrolytes, and I have my water, which is going to allow me to rehydrate if I were using the ayahuasca. One thing I didn't touch on, which I should touch on now, is what somebody should expect in a ceremony. The ceremony starts, I guess pre-ceremony, you start with like a meditation meant to open up your body. It's both physical exercise and meditation. I guess that's just to get your metabolism up, or to get your energy up. And then after you get your energy up, you essentially take a break, and they start setting up the room for the ritual. During the day, the shaman has prepared the ayahuasca, and on the first day, you have a talk with the psychiatrist or psychologist that's on staff to let them know what your intentions are. What do you look to get out of the ritual? So whatever that is for you, you share that. Based on your medical history, they determine, and your weight and stuff like that, they determine what your dosage should be. So once you get into the ceremony room, the doctor, who's also present, works with the shaman to distribute the doses, and the ritual begins. You drink this this brown syrupy drink. It actually tastes like Guinness with sawdust in it, which is kind of, you know, strange. So you drink this almost coffee molasses Guinness sawdust mix, and from there you just sit back and you wait. Now you're supposed to go through what's called a purging or a vomiting, and it could take anywhere from 5 minutes to even 2 hours, depending on how you're metabolizing it. But for me, I started to feel like this warmth kind of settling into my stomach, then nausea, and then I felt like I was going to puke, but I wasn't ready, so I held on a little while longer. Then I felt I was going to puke again, then held on a little while longer, and then finally this wave came over me, and when I vomited, literally I went through this velvet tunnel, and my soul or my consciousness also came out from my belly into the bucket, and the journey began. It was 2 phases. The first phase was not as intense. I was crying a little bit. I knew that, you know, I was making contact with the underworld in a way, or the world where the dead goes. And then I had like a little taste of the universe and how everything is connected to me. Just a small taste. Then I woke up. Yes?
Excuse me?
Yeah. So so I gotta go. But the second dose was what made it so much more intense, and everybody's experience is going to be different, but mine was, you know, spectacular. Like, really, I got to meet God. I think I said this yesterday, but I got to meet God, or I said it before, so I might skip that part. But just knowing that you belong to this loving, eternally loving universe is so satisfying and peaceful. It's like floating in this magical jello or water. Felt blue, but then we'll go between blue, lavender, and silver, shimmery. Just this world of shimmer and geometrics sound. But yeah, so today I'm just going to be an observer, maybe there for support, moral support for the others. My buddy who actually kind of encouraged me, who's actually one of my life beacons, according to what I experienced. He didn't quite go there, but I think he's going to go there today, and I want to be in the room for him just in case he needs me. But I'm not going to be taking another dose. I've got all my questions answered, and yeah, that's pretty much the last of the ceremonies, and I'll touch in if I think there's anything worth sharing. Yeah.